Welcome into CHGO Bets Daily, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Steven, how'd I do?
You did great. I mean, I'm not used to seeing the show without an AO at the start. You brought the energy right off the top. I love it.
I'm a little salty because Sean wasn't at Friendsgiving last night. So that's me throwing some shade.
Okay.
So Sean, if you're watching, that's my shade. But you were dearly missed, and I wish you would have been there. But anyway, welcome, guys. Steven's stepping in. He's the producer, but also stepping in to co-host with me today because we're talking college football. I got a college basketball teaser, and those are the main things. And I know Steven's got some bets, and I'm excited. Obviously, in the headline, we're going to talk about Purdue and Michigan. It's the Big Ten championship. But we have games tonight. We have a big game tonight between USC and Utah, and then obviously a full slate tomorrow. It's a beautiful thing.
It's looking good too.
Yeah, I'm just
for conference championships. So many of these spreads are close too. Yeah, it's exactly what you want to see. Is it better?
Absolutely.
It's almost even money all the way around.
Right. So usually we do the bank thing, and if you've been watching lately, I have no idea what my bank is at. I'll say in my DraftKings account right now, I got about $28, but that's because I bet on Akron and Buffalo over, and that's not coming close because whatever reason. I already put my money in for my teaser tonight from college basketball that we're gonna get to here in a little bit. But I've also cashed out a ton of money too. So, or whatever.
You got to buy those shoes somehow. You
got to buy the Jordan somehow, man. You know what I mean?
From somewhere.
Right. So, anyway, let's just get right into it because like the people are here. That's I don't know how many viewers we have currently, but the people are here because they want to know what we're betting tonight and tomorrow for college football conference championship Saturday. So, I want to start with the big game tonight because this game I'm actually surprised that it's not tomorrow because like it's this, if it's not the biggest game, it's the second biggest game of the college football slate this week. Because
this determines the CFP.
Yes, it determines the college football playoff. And I'm talking about USC in Utah. And as you can see on the screen right now, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm slamming USC -2.5 against Utah. Give me Caleb Williams, the Heisman favorite, against anyone. Anyone at this point. He has looked that good to me, and I understand it's the Pac-12, and that doesn't necessarily mean everything. But this USC team, their defense actually kind of showed up for him last week after it didn't against UCLA. And that doesn't really change much. They were pretty decent favorites last week. But I like how they're playing going into this game against Utah, who lost at Oregon last week by 3 points. And again, it's at 2.5 points. So basically all I got to do is win by a field goal and you cover. Then I guess to backtrack a little bit, DraftKings has a great promo for tonight's game.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
Where I think it's whoever you take, whether it's Utah or USC on the spread, it's boosted to like plus 115 or something.
It's a 25% profit boost.
Yeah, 25%.
So you get plus money on a 2.5 point spread.
Right. So there's juice on both sides, no matter what you take if you're on DraftKings, which you should be because it's the best app. But yeah, man, I just like the offense of USC, man. Like when it comes down to these big conference championship games and stuff, sometimes it's like one or two players that put another team over the top. And Caleb Williams has been doing it all year. I can't bet against him against a very solid Utah team. Like, no disrespect to them, but like, this is like a legacy game already for like Lincoln Riley in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like he got a lot of slander leaving Oklahoma to
He
take
risked a
USC.
lot. And to
Yes.
come over there and do what he's doing, and to make the CFP, I mean, that says a lot.
Right.
With Caleb Williams, he pulled him right over with him. I mean, you recruited the quarterback to one school, and then he said, "I'm leaving from this school. Come with me." He does it. Both of these guys have a lot riding on this game.
Yeah, and absolutely. And Jordan Addison's really solid at receiver. They got a decent running game. I just think their offense just they put so much pressure on the other team that you're going to give me 2.5 points. Like, if this was 3.5 or more, maybe I'd consider Utah, because I do think it'll be close.
Yeah, it should be a solid game. Right. I don't think either team is pulling away and getting more than a double-digit lead at any point in this game.
Yeah. So like that's one reason why I'm on USC, because I think they're going to win the game, and it's going to be by a field goal or more. I don't see this being a 1 or 2 point game, and technicalities lead to that, right? So yeah, I see you, Grags.
I saw that comment. I just had to start laughing.
I am choosing to ignore it until we get to the Purdue Michigan game. But he is kind of right. But that said, again, we'll get to it. So anyway, man, you told me you're on USC as well.
I'm also on them, and for me, it's all about the quarterback. Coach, obviously, you got a great coach, you got a great system, you got a historic team there. But Caleb Williams is the reason I'm taking USC, because this is football. You don't win games, you don't win championships, you don't do any of that without a good quarterback. And if you have a good quarterback, you got a shot. Caleb Williams is currently the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman at minus 2,500. I thought that number was a little too high. I don't know why Drake May was never in this conversation with the seasons he had at UNC. It is what it is. Everyone thinks he's going to be the Heisman Trophy winner. I have a tendency of betting towards Heisman Trophy winners to win games. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. Even the over-under 67.5. The only reason I'm avoiding that is because, like, I thought Utah and Oregon were going to put up a ton of points last week, and it was a 20-17 game. So that, like, if anything, I lean under on this, because I do think Utah's defense is solid.
That's always been their calling card, is Utah's defense. Right. They run well and they defend well.
Right. And 67.5, even in college, is a lot of points.
Yeah, it's tons.
So, I lean under on there, but I expect this to be a good game. And, the only way I see Utah winning is if that defense really does get after Caleb Williams and, slows that USC defense down. But yeah, right now, I as far as props on this game, the last 2 weeks, Caleb Williams rushing prop has hit easily. I'm pretty sure you can get it again this week on this game. Yeah, it's at 32.5. And I love that prop.
That's juicy,
because he's hitting it easy the last 2 weeks. He's looked more and more like Patrick Mahomes out there, as far as like
kind of drop my guy's name. That's a big loft.
As far as like what you see from him on the field, he can sling it down the field, he can scramble and avoid every defensive back possible. And he's still seeing downfield at the same time. He's made some incredible plays. So we just talked about this Utah defense. Maybe Williams has to scramble a little bit, runs for a couple 10-yard gains, something like that.
Yeah.
He's definitely shown that he will do that. So I like the Caleb Williams over 32.5 rushing prop. That's probably my favorite prop of this game, at least.
I gotta ask, did you see where his passing prop was at?
His passing prop, it's
high.
It's at 319. It's consistently been around there since I've really been paying attention to these USC games, which has only been like the last couple of weeks. He went well over that against UCLA, but didn't come close last week because they ran the ball down the other team's throats. I can't think of who they beat last week off the top of my head right now, but like 319 is a high number. But you
don't see that in college that often. That's the reason I brought that up.
Right. Yeah, I would.
It was Notre Dame, by the way.
Notre Dame, yes, exactly. And the way that the game script for that game went, Notre Dame was actually in that game more than a lot of people really thought going into it. Notre Dame did not cover. I think, I ended up taking Notre Dame to cover 4.5. They did not cover. But I like the reason that USC basically did whatever they wanted was because they ran the ball. They ran the ball a lot. I think that they will pass a little bit more in this game. But again, that's a high total, so I don't like it.
Even Cam Rising in this one, his over under on pass yards 277.5. I mean, you just don't really see numbers like this in college football. I mean, college football is more of a running league.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
College wide. So it was just something I thought was interesting.
No, Caleb Williams passing touchdowns is set at 2.5. The over is at -125. Yeah. I don't think he's even gone over that the last couple weeks either, just because like there's always like a rushing one in there. He'll get to 2, but then someone else will score like via the run or something like that. So I mean, he didn't even go over it in that game against UCLA where it was over 100 points total because he threw, but he also ran a couple in himself,
Yeah.
So and he also ran in a couple last week. Like his
to score a TD, it's actually minus money. It's -130 right now.
-130 for him to run one in. As far as like I like Taj Washington. He's for him to score touchdowns at +190. He's really impressed me the last couple weeks. So that's just kind of what I like about tonight's game. It's going to be a great game. And again, it's huge implications for the college football playoff. I think if USC loses, I probably would lean that. I hate to say it, but like Alabama or Ohio State.
I think Ohio State squeaks in that scenario.
Yeah.
And we could be set up for yet another Ohio State-Michigan matchup.
Yeah, as much as I hate that, I think that's fair. I think that's more fair. At least Ohio State went up. The one game they lost was against the number 3 team in the country last week in Michigan. So I get it. And Alabama's lost 2 games. So we're gonna see. I personally am rooting for USC and TCU to win, just because I think there will be chaos in the college football playoff if that happens.
You say that, but I'm looking at your bets here, and your bets disagree with you. You're taking Kansas State, and you and I are going to disagree on this one.
Okay. Well, see, I say that, but I said what I said, but I like Kansas State against TCU tomorrow because it is hard to beat a team twice, man. And Kansas State had TCU on the ropes in that first game, and that team hasn't forgot about it. And I think if Aiden Martinez stays in that game, I think things go a little bit differently. So I'm gonna take Kansas State. I've actually been fading Kansas State a lot this year, but I'm gonna take them tomorrow. And it's not that I really don't necessarily not believe in TCU. It's just like I said, it's hard to beat a team twice, especially in football. You know what I mean? So. And the spread's down to like 1.5.
1.5. That's where I just saw it. Yeah, I'm taking TCU -1.5 in that game. I used a free bet on it actually, so I'm excited about that. Hopefully, I just make some free money on that.
Yeah.
For me, it's all about the receivers in this one. That's gonna really determine. Like Quentin Johnson, he's a bona fide star. He is excellent. He's gonna be probably a first-round pick in the NFL draft. I think this guy is a can't-miss prospect. And with Max Duggan throwing to him, I'm really excited about what he could do in that game. And TCU gets the game at home. Just for all those reasons, I'm taking TCU in that one.
I get it. Again, I'm hoping I wouldn't be mad about it, but I'm leaning Kansas State just because I don't know, man. I think
like chaos. You do.
I do like chaos, and I also just like there really is something about being able to beat a team twice if you're able to do that. And TCU is like, they were really impressive against Texas, and they blew out whoever they played last week, and I think it was Iowa State, right? Iowa State they're not good, but still, like they've had every test thrown at them, and everyone keeps waiting for them to lose. So what's any different in this one? Like that's no different. Like no one, a lot of people don't believe in them. It's not that I don't believe them. It's just more of again, hard to beat a team twice. So I'm gonna take Kansas State and see what happens. What else?
I don't think anyone really saw TCU going 12-0 to this point either.
No.
So I think there's a lot of that maybe affecting the spread because, there's no way this team go 13-0 and go into the CFP now. And that was not on anyone's board coming into the season.
Yeah.
I'll let you continue, though. You got Ohio money line.
Yeah, Ohio money line tomorrow. Now, if you've been watching this show or listening to this show since Maction began, me and Sean have been riding Ohio for like the last month and a half. And you know what? We did not ride Ohio last week. And it backfired because I think their quarterback didn't play. Curtis Work didn't play, but Ohio still blew out whoever the hell they played. I can't remember who it was because it's been over a week now. But them tomorrow against Toledo. I know Toledo has been very good all season, but they've also been sus. You're giving me Ohio. You give me a field goal. Screw it. I'll take the money line at plus 130. I think it'll be a high scoring game. If anything, you want to be a little bit more safer, take the over. Over-unders at 54.5. This is the MAC championship, so you know how Maction is. It can be wild.
It's exciting.
You can get some chaos.
Ohio at home too. On top of that,
yeah. So yeah, if any, like, again, I like Ohio plus 3. I'm gonna take the money line because I'm just feeling dangerous about it. I think they really
can. Money, I know what it is.
Yeah, well, I like the plus money, and again, I'm pretty sure Work is going to play. So, give me Ohio, the Bobcats against Toledo, who they've been sus. They've been sus in certain games. They've lost games that they should have won, and like I think that's just what the MAC is. Like, it's just anything can happen on any given Saturday, and so yeah, I'm gonna take Ohio in that game. Honestly, I took my 3 favorite dogs from the Saturday slate, and that includes Kansas State and Ohio, and I'll get to the other one. And I'm just going to parlay them and just, sprinkle a couple bucks on there and hopefully make it some decent money. But before I tell you that third leg, I got LSU plus 17.5 against Georgia. Now, I feel, Stephen, tell me if you agree with me on this. It feels like I'm pinching my nose and just like placing the bet and riding, because part of me is like, they just got embarrassed by a really bad Texas A&M team.
Mm-hmm.
And now their college football playoff implications are dead. They have there's no chance now. And they're going up against Georgia. Now, like
number one Georgia.
Now, the reason that I'm on LSU is because remember last year when Alabama beat Georgia in the SEC championship? I think Georgia's just looking ahead to the college football championship or playoff because they know they're in. If they lose this game, they're still in. There's no way that they're not in if they lose this game. This game definitely means more to LSU in terms of just bouncing back from just that embarrassing loss. And again, 17.5. That's a lot of points. I mean, I don't know if they're going to win the game. That'd be an insane upset if they actually did win the game. But 17.5 is a lot of points for a team that's looking to bounce back. And Jaden Daniels has been a guy all season. Like, he's a big part of why LSU was in it all year. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, would this spread be this high if LSU had won last week and gone into this game?
No,
I don't think so. So
I completely agree. Look at what LSU was doing before that game. They beat Florida. They beat Ole Miss. They beat Bama. That's a huge win. Yeah, they had like a couple easy, like UAB. That wasn't that impressive by any means. They won by over 30 points, I want to say, in that game. But yeah, if you win that Texas A&M game, the entire outlook of this game is completely different. And 17.5, that's a lot for an LSU team that had been playing really well. They put up a stinker. It happens. Especially
LSU's probably in the playoff right now if they had won the game.
I would agree with that. They had just one loss. I want to say it was week 1 versus Florida State.
Yeah.
And that was a bad loss they shouldn't have had. But, they're acclimating a new quarterback, new coach, everything. Yeah, the whole system had to be overhauled, really. So, yeah, I'm with you on this one. Plus 17.5 is a lot of points. I'm going to ride with you on that one as well. I'm going to take that.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Do I think that LSU could win? There is a small chance I could see that happening. I'm not going to put money on it. But
it's only because, like how much does Georgia care about this game?
Why would they? I mean, they don't want to get shut out 40-0 by any means, but if they lose 38-25, it's like we're going to CFP.
Right.
It's the place that they're going to be playing, whether
the same thing happened last year.
No, they're the best team. It is what it is.
Right. Like the same thing happened last year with Alabama. Alabama beat them in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And then Georgia went on to go win the national championship. Like, I don't know. Like, I like the 17.5, and I hope that spread moves up to like 18 or 19 before kickoff tomorrow, because I will slam it. I'm waiting to see if it'll move up anymore.
So you haven't bet on it yet, but you will be betting on it.
I haven't,
Okay.
but
I like the thought process there, though.
I'm waiting to see if like more money comes in on Georgia, because like LSU is down big right now, like in terms of like confidence. So I feel like more people would just go ahead and bet Georgia just because they're Georgia. But like, I think we're set up for a nice bounce back competitive game from LSU.
I agree.
So, next up, I got UNC plus 7.5. And this goes part of my parlay I just said before I talked about LSU. I'm taking Kansas State money line, Ohio money line, and UNC money line against Clemson. Just sprinkle a couple bucks on there. 3 dogs. UNC is like plus 255 on the money line, but I'm definitely taking the 7.5 because it's a touchdown and a hook against Clemson, a Clemson team that lost to South Carolina last week.
I know.
And South Carolina needs some freaking respect, man. Like, they beat Tennessee with Hooker before he got hurt, and they put up 66 on that Tennessee team. And then they beat South Carolina, beat Clemson last week. UNC also is really, like, the last 2 weeks have really disappointed. So both Clemson and UNC coming in this game with like just like not playing well right now. Like, I don't know if they were just like, well, we know we're in the ACC championship anyway. Like, what does it matter? I don't know. But I'll take Drake May over the guy that Clemson has, and those uniforms, as much as I don't like UNC. I will ride with that offense against that defense for Clemson that clearly gave up some points last week against Spencer Rattler. Like, yes, you giving me a touchdown in the hook after what that Clemson defense did last week?
And that wasn't just a Clemson loss. That was a Clemson loss at home. Do you know how rare that is?
Right.
They had the longest home winning streak in the country. It was dating back years.
Yes.
It's incredible what they're to beat Clemson at home. And I've been on Clemson for some time. I'm a big Clemson guy. I like the quarterback play there. Obviously, DJ Uiagalelei, like awesome quarterback. And followed his recruitment closely back in my last job. Big fan of his. But yeah, to beat them at Clemson is very, very impressive.
Yeah. I said on this show last week that I was going to take South Carolina plus 14. I wish I'd just taken the money line. That was
in hindsight.
They were 14-point dogs.
Yeah, and you mentioned Drake May. And 3, that's another reason. I'm not going to take UNC to win this game. I will take them to cover the 7.5-point spread, though.
Yeah.
Drake May is the reason why. He's another phenomenal quarterback. You can't teach bloodlines. His brother, I don't know if many people know, is Luke May, another UNC standout. He played basketball for UNC, though. Yeah. So, I'm big on the bloodlines. That's where I come from.
Yeah, like this game is about like which team's going to bounce back better, because like again, both teams coming off bad losses. I mean, UNC lost to Georgia Tech, and they lost to another team that they should have beat the week before. Like 2 straight bad losses, honestly, compared for what they are. And then Clemson, they got murdered by Notre Dame and lost to South Carolina. So both teams coming in here looking bad. But obviously a win here definitely makes their like bowl game better for sure.
Yeah,
there's a lot to play for here. This might be the one conference championship game that like there's a lot to play for, more than just like a bowl game or whatever. Like this is for the ACC, and then also that, and I don't know, just getting some respect back. I think like it's been bad for both.
I mentioned I thought Drake May should have been higher up in this Heisman conversation. It's just because of these last 2 losses. That's the only reason he's not. I mean, winning is everything, and not just in sports, but in Heisman voting too. And it's unfortunate because the season he's having has been elite. I mean, he put himself towards the top of every single draft board, not for this coming draft, but the draft after that when he's eligible. And he's a young player. So for him to be doing this is like Tebow level for me when he was a sophomore,
Yeah. Okay. Well, finally, we have finally made it. All right. Purdue.
This is the one I'm waiting for here.
Purdue, Michigan. I'm slamming Michigan minus 17. Listen, Braggs, I know you're a Notre Dame football fan, so this ain't going to bother you. But yes, I cannot bet on Purdue after what they did to Illinois. I can't do it. So that's part of my fan side. But also, like, I know Corum's not going to play for Michigan, but they still got Donovan Edwards, and they just like handed Ohio State a butt whipping. at Columbus, like in Columbus in the horseshoe. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you want to look back in history? Okay, when they beat Ohio State last year, people are wondering, okay, is the big letdown coming in the Big Ten championship? No, they went out and destroyed Iowa.
Yeah.
They went out and destroyed Iowa last year in the Big Ten championship. Michigan is going to roll by at least 3 touchdowns Saturday night. I hate to say it because I don't like Michigan either. But this is what I will say. All right. Purdue beat Illinois fair and square. And sure, there was a few calls that I didn't like that kind of led to Illinois losing that game. But Illinois just did not play up to the type of team that they were against Purdue. And they showed that when they faced Michigan and only lost by 2 points the next week. All right. Purdue has been a very hot and cold team. I mean, they lost like 24-3 to Iowa. They let Iowa put up 20 points on them, right? Like their defense isn't that great. It's very sus. They sure, they got a decent offense, but like there's just nothing about Purdue that is consistent. There's nothing consistent about them to give me any trust into wanting to believe that they can cover 17. I think Michigan rolls. Donovan Edwards is going to run it down their throats. And JJ McCarthy just had the best game of his college career,
You said the name. That's my guy.
So I think Michigan's going to destroy them and only cement themselves as like the second best team in college football going into the college football playoff.
I agree with that.
So,
Braggs here saying the conference shouldn't be divided. He wants a rematch. Ohio State didn't earn a rematch, Braggs. They needed to play better than what they did. That was an embarrassment for Ohio State at home in front of their fans, and it's all because of my guy, JJ McCarthy. Cody, I told you before the show I was alluding to a same-game parlay. I do have a stepped-up same-game parlay with a terrible picture of me, but here we go.
This is
Purdue
insane.
At Michigan at the Big House. I boosted my odds 25% for each leg here, or in total. So 4 legs, 25%. Went from plus 170 to plus 212. This is the JJ McCarthy Bowl for me. I'm taking Michigan minus 6.5 for all the reasons you stated and more, because JJ McCarthy is a certified stud quarterback. I want to go 170 plus pass yards. He almost did that to just Cornelius Johnson last week. I think Cornelius Johnson had 160. You see Cornelius Johnson's name down there. I'm going to ride with him as well, because if McCarthy's throwing for 170 plus pass yards, someone's got to be catching it. That's the guy I think he's building a better rapport with every single week. And JJ McCarthy, 10 plus rush yards. Why? Because Blake Corum's not going to be running the ball. Donovan Edwards has been great. I think once McCarthy starts establishing that pass a little bit more, you're going to see the defense drop a little bit. Things are going to open up. McCarthy's going to rush for 10 yards on one rush alone.
Yeah.
I'm very, very confident in him. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story of JJ McCarthy and why I've been so big on this guy. Because I told you guys preseason I was so high on him. Here's why. This guy's a sophomore at Nazareth Academy, not too far from where I live, actually, here in Illinois, in LaGrange Park, if anyone's wondering. This guy breaks his throwing hand in the state semifinal. And he goes to the doctor and asks him, can I play? Like, if I play, like, is there much more damage I could do? Yeah, not much. Like, it's more of like a pain tolerance thing. I don't know if you could do it. He goes out and throws for 3 touchdowns. Nazareth wins the state championship in his sophomore season. This guy is a gamer. I am so high on him. He reminds me of like a young Tom Brady, not talent-wise, because that guy's the GOAT until Patrick Mahomes takes it.
Yeah.
But just in terms of that gamer attitude that he has. He just wants to be out there.
Well, yeah. So I will correct you here a bit. The Big Ten championship is actually in Indianapolis. It's not.
Oh, it is?
Not, yeah.
Okay.
They play it in Indy every year. So they're going to be in a dome, I think. I'm pretty sure they play it where the Colts play. So, and most of the conference championship games are all neutral site games. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 80 to 90% sure. To me, it really doesn't matter about where they're playing the game, though, for any of these games. But no, I like that. I like the parlay there you put up. And yeah, JJ McCarthy is, I mean, you know, he's coming off the best game of his career. Is he going to have a letdown? Is he going to, is he going to get too high because of what he just did at Ohio State? I don't think so. I mean, he's not going to have to throw the ball as much in this game. I don't think
he shouldn't have to.
Right. So I really do think they're going to just run it down their throats and control the clock. And their defense is one of the best in the country, if not the best. Georgia being right up there. So, yeah, no, I like the parlay. I like Michigan minus 17. It's the one favorite that I absolutely love this weekend.
Real quick, I did look at the odds to win it all right now. Georgia's still the favorite at -150. Michigan comes in second at +300. Ohio State, if they even make it into the CFP, +800. TCU +1200. USC +1200 as well. Is there someone you like there in particular?
Can you read those one more time?
Sure. The favorite is Georgia at -150.
Uh-huh.
Michigan comes in second at +300. Ohio State at +800, and TCU and USC are both +1200.
Man, I kind of like Michigan at +300 because I think they're the only team that might be able to beat Georgia. And maybe sprinkle on USC just because the quarterback play, but their defense is awful. And Georgia, you saw what Georgia did against Tennessee, which is like a similar team. Like Tennessee's offense was great, right? But Tennessee couldn't stop anyone, and like USC has shown that they can't stop anyone more often than not. So, I wouldn't like USC against Georgia. I think Georgia will win it all, but if I wanted the plus money and I wanted to take a flyer, I would take either USC or Michigan.
I hate the value. I think Georgia's the easy pick there. I think Georgia's the one team that Michigan can't beat. We saw it last year.
That is true too.
Yeah, that's the one team where I'm like, all right, Michigan can't beat Georgia, especially now with Blake Corum being done with that knee injury.
Yeah,
but yeah, I do like Georgia. I don't like the value. I'm not betting it.
Yeah. Okay, so I forgot about reading the ad, so I'm gonna read the ad, and then I'm gonna give you my 3-leg college basketball teaser for tonight. All right, and we're gonna give an update on the Bears and Packers because Justin Fields is playing. And with that said, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is my go-to when betting the NFL this holiday season. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets. If they do, check this out. Right now, everyone can earn up to 100% boost with DraftKings Stepped Up Same Game Parlay. Steven just gave you one for the college football game.
Free money.
Purdue and Michigan. Free money. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and place a Same Game Parlay and combine multiple bets like which team will win, player props, point totals, and more. The more legs you add, the bigger the boost. The bigger your shot to win big. And like I said, even my parlay, UNC moneyline, Kansas State moneyline, and Ohio moneyline. You can use the stepped up same game parlay boost just to boost it a little bit more. I think it boosts it up to like plus 1,900 or something like that. So anyway, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code CHGO. Place a $5 bet on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details in the YouTube description or in the podcast description. So, that said, I'm ready to talk a little college hoops. Just
here we go
before we end the show. All right. So, again, this is a college basketball 5-point teaser. All right. So Wake Forest tonight. Let me open it up here. Wake Forest tonight. I've got them at +8. I think they were, again, this is a 5-point teaser. So they were 3-point dogs against Clemson, which was interesting to me because Wake Forest just went into Wisconsin and beat the Badgers, who have been impressive so far this year. So I was actually surprised that there were 3-point dogs against Clemson. I thought maybe it'd be more like a pick 'em. So I'm in making this teaser. I did the 5 points. We're boosting it from 3 to 8. All right. Bryant -6. They're huge favorites against Brown. They're like 11-point favorites. So
I want to know how you ended up at Bryant versus Brown today.
Well, Bryant,
I saw this when I was making the graph.
Bryant,
oh man, you got in deep here. I don't know.
Bryant has been an impressive mid-major school. They beat Syracuse, and Syracuse is bad. They're not very good, but they beat Syracuse like a few games ago by 1 point. And Brown is like 3-4. They're an Ivy League school. They've never really been a good Ivy League school. Bryant is 6-1 on the year. I think they roll tonight. Give me the 6 points instead of the 11. And then the big game in college basketball tonight, outside of Illinois and Maryland, that I would bet if I would live by a sports book, Baylor and Gonzaga. Gonzaga is a 2.5-point favorite at Baylor. So I'm using that 5-point teaser to boost it up to 7.5. The odds are at plus 130. So I don't know if Baylor wins, but I think they hang
That's the one that
around in
worries
that
me.
one. They're at home, and I know they're coming off a really bad loss. But Gonzaga has not looked good against these Power 5 schools, like major Power 5 schools. I mean, they barely beat Michigan State. They did beat Kentucky. I'll give them credit there. But they got whooped by Purdue. Braggs, shout out to you. And there's another game in there that they've lost to. Oh, yeah, they got whipped by Texas. So I
Texas
like
is really good, though.
That's true. But Baylor was ranked number 5 in the country last week. Like they're a good basketball team, right? I think they hang around on their home court tonight against the Zags and at least cover 7.5. So again, those 3 legs plus 130 on DraftKings. I'm getting a little addicted to teasers just because I'm tired of all the bad beats. I'm tired of them all, man. I hit my teaser last night when we were at Friendsgiving at the office. Shout out to UConn, shout out to UCLA, and shout out to Creighton. It was never a doubt, really. Yeah. It was a really easy one.
Creighton made that one interesting too.
I'm 1-0 in my last 1 teasers. We're trying to make it 2-0 in my last 2. Streak. Exactly. It's a win. It's a winning streak if I say it is, because it's my show. Sorry, Sean. Anyway, that's all I got today. Steven, you got any more bets?
I don't. We got some quick Bears to talk about, though.
Oh, right? Yes. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Okay. So Justin Fields, I was talking to Nick Moriano last night at Friendsgiving, and he told me, he's like, Fields is playing. Fields is going to play. And he practiced fully yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to play on Sunday.
No injury designation right now, too.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, he's definitely going to play. And so, again, the shoulder, it's his non-throwing shoulder, right?
Correct.
Right. Okay. So, be that what it will. Aaron Rodgers, I'm pretty sure, is going to play too.
Yes.
I said on our NFL show the other day that I'm taking the over, because if Mike White can put up 300 yards passing on that Bears defense, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is for the Green Bay Packers. They're going to have a day. And the over-under was at 43, is now up to 45. Slam the over now, Steven. Slam the over now, because the Bears are going to give up points, and the Packers can't stop the run. And whether that's David Montgomery or Justin Fields running the ball, when he scrambles out of the pocket, they're going to find a way to put up more than 10 points this week. So I like the over still. The spread has come down to 3.5. If you're going to bet that game, just take the over, man. Just take the over. The spread it's disgusting, because the Bears aren't going to win that game, but 3.5 is like that key number. Like that hook is so key.
Yeah.
Like I could easily see the Bears being in this game.
They should be if Justin Fields plays. I do want to caution everyone, just because he doesn't have an injury designation and he did practice fully, it doesn't mean the front office can't come down and say, you know what, we don't want to risk it. We want to give him this week off, get that extra bye week, and then get him back fully healthy without any limitations moving forward. The one thing I'm worried about, we know that Justin Fields can run all over this defense. My worry is, will they let him? Because if he's running, that means he's going to be getting hit too. And sure, it's his non-throwing shoulder. Doesn't mean that it's not a serious injury. I mean, you don't want to get hit with we've heard it called a shoulder separation strain, whatever you want to call it. It's a serious injury, and taking hits for your franchise quarterback in a lost season, let's call it what it is. We're tanking now. We're at that point where if the season ended today, we'd have the number 2 pick. Why risk it? I get it. The guy wants to play. He's a gamer, just like JJ McCarthy's a gamer. And he wants to be out there. I do like what you said about the over. Everyone's going to be betting the over. That number is going to move up and up and up.
Yeah.
If you don't like the over, here's my advice: bet the over anyway. Wait until Saturday at 7 p.m. See what they're offering you to cash it out, because you're going to be getting more money back, because that number is going to keep moving up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good idea. That's good advice. If you don't want to bet on either of those things, I do like Cole Kmet receiving yards, because Darnell Mooney is out. He's out for the rest of the year. So
someone's got to catch balls, right?
So someone's got to catch something, right? And Cole Kmet, when Justin Fields has played, has been a stud over the last month and a half, right? I also like Aaron Jones to not score 1 but 2 touchdowns, because he he destroyed the Bears run defense in week 2 when they had Robert Quinn and Roquan Smith.
Yeah.
Now those guys are gone and this defense stinks. Aaron Jones is going to have a day.
It's something about guys named Aaron on the Packers owning the Bears. That's what that's what I've just come to notice. It's not just Rodgers.
I think Aaron Rodgers isn't really going to be much of a factor other than just the fact that he is who he is. So he's just going to look like a threat. But with that injury, and I watched that game against the Eagles, man, he did not look okay out there. I'm actually surprised that they're even playing him because, like, what's the point? But, you know, he is who he is, and he wants to play in this rivalry game. So I get it in a certain standpoint. Like, the fan in me wants the Bears to win so bad to, like, finally kind of dethrone that guy.
Yeah.
But they just do not have the pieces to even, honestly, in my opinion, even with Fields, to even, you know, cover a field goal. Like, just because you can't trust that defense. But again, that Packers defense is sus too, especially the run defense. They gave up like over 300 yards rushing. So,
week. Justin Fields set the single game NFL record for most rushing yards by a quarterback. Jalen Hurts almost broke that last week. Because that Green Bay defense is so bad and so easy to run against.
Yeah.
I want to say it was 150 plus for Jalen Hurts in that game, and I think the record was 178 for Fields.
Right.
Crazy that we saw that almost broken twice in one season.
Right. Yeah, no, it's very interesting. And so, yeah, I think the safe play is the over, and the rest of it, you know, the best prop I would say is Aaron Jones touchdown and Cole Kmet receiving yards. Those are,
I like that.
Yeah.
I like both of those.
Maybe Christian Watson to score a touchdown too, because he's just been great.
He's been scorched earth as of late. Yeah, I know this is fantasy numbers now, but the only fantasy player over the last 3 weeks to outscore him is Devontae Adams. Ironically, Devontae Adams, the guy who used to play for the Packers.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, Steven, this was fun.
Always.
I'm going to request for you to step in for Sean once a week now, moving forward. The rest of this podcast's existence. Sean, if you're hearing that, that's not slander. It's just that I like talking to Steven too. Anyway, we'll be back next week, Monday or Tuesday. I'm not exactly sure. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but we'll be back next week. Sean will be back. And, obviously we have college basketball to talk about on Tuesday. And
next Tuesday we'll be back.
Next Tuesday. All right. We'll be talking college basketball, Big Ten, like recapping the Big Ten. It's what we do every Tuesday now. Is just talking Big Ten basketball with a little bit of betting as well. So we'll see you then on Tuesday when perhaps me and Steven are millionaires and perhaps on a boat.